Call the regular meeting of the Upshur County Commission to order. We'll begin with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time we'll have the reading of the minutes of the December 19, 2013 Upshur County Commission meeting.
Morning.
Morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Jackie.
The County Commission of Upshur County, West Virginia held their regular meeting at the Courthouse Annex on Thursday, December 19, 2013 at 9 a.m. Donnie Tenney called the meeting to order. There were present Donnie Tenney, Commissioner, J.C. Rafferty, Commissioner, Troy Brady, Commissioner, Megan Pomeroy, County Administrator, Jennifer Dinkelo, Assistant County Administrator, and Jacqueline Dinklocker, Secretary. The meeting began with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All motions passed unanimously unless otherwise stated. After reading of the minutes on motion by Troy Brady, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the Commission approved the regular meeting minutes of December 12, 2013 as submitted. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the Commission approved the poll workers, alternates, and emergency ballot commissioners for the February 8, 2014 school levy election as submitted. Troy Brady requested to be excused from discussion concerning matters relating to civil action. David D. Taylor, plaintiff versus Donnie Tenney, Creed Pletcher, Timothy Stranko, and the Upshur County Commission as defendants. After Mr. Brady's request was granted, Megan Pomeroy provided a review of information from the West Virginia County's Risk Pool concerning counsel for commission as recommended by the Risk Pool. The insurance carrier has retained the services of Kayla L. Sowers, Esquire, from the law firm of Pullen, Fowler, Flanagan, Brown, and Powell, the LLC, for representation. No commission action was required. Mr. Brady re-entered the commission meeting. Laura Meadows, West Virginia Strawberry Festival representative, appeared before the commission and provided a review of the 2014 promotional brochure. Ms. Meadows requested the commission to renew their ongoing sponsorship of the annual event and requested a donation of $350 to help with the cost of the publication of 20,000 brochures. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the commission approved the donation and continued sponsorship. Megan Pomeroy provided a review of the carryover provision amendment concerning the American Fidelity Insurance Company flexible spending accounts. The IRS is allowing the election of a carryover of up to $500 of unused funds remaining at the end of the current plan year to the next plan year, or an amount of up to $2,500 permitted use of prior year funds within a period of 2.5 months into the next plan year. Ms. Pomeroy advised that the consensus of employees who currently use the FSAs elected to use the $500 option. No, change must be across the board, not on an individual basis. After discussion on motion by J.C. Rafferty, seconded by Troy Brady, the commission approved the carryover provision amendment with the $500 carryover option. After discussion on motion by Troy Brady, seconded by J.C. Rafferty, the commission approved the resignation of Lisa Unger as full-time E911 Communications Center dispatcher effective December 28, 2013. Donnie Tenney reviewed the following for your information items. Number 1, NACO prescription drug discount card program, update of plan usage. Number 2, IRS mileage reimbursement rate for 2014, 56 cents per mile. Number 3, correspondence from Geno's Detailing LLC regarding change in business. Number 4, Upshur County Communications Center reports as listed. Number 5, agendas and/or notices of meetings as listed. Number 6, meeting minutes and/or financial reports as listed. Number 7, meetings as listed. Number 8, appointments needed or upcoming as listed. The Commission approved all invoices for payment. The Commission approved all vacation orders. The Commission approved the following settlements as listed. The Commission approved the following requests for time out of office as listed. With no further business, on motion by Bert Grady, second by Donnie Tang, the Commission meeting adjourned at 11:15 a.m.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as read?
As much as I regret, yes, my name was not included as a, in the suit filed by Mr. Taylor. I don't believe my name was in there. It should be included as much as I regret. I wish it were other.
It's not your desire to
Not
be
my
so,
desire to be.
but you just want to make sure it's in the minutes.
Right.
Okay, with that addition, then I'll ask for motion to be approved as such.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next we have election of commission president for the year of 2014. And before we have our election, I'd just like to say a few words about my tenure as president of the county commission. I've certainly enjoyed serving that position, even though basically you preside over the meetings and you get to sign all the checks and spend all the money in the county. But you also get to attend a lot of community functions and make long speeches and go to all the different festive events of the county, which I'm sure our next president's going to enjoy as much as I have over the last, I don't know, seems like 10 years maybe as president. I know it's been several. But you know, there comes a time when you have to turn the reins over to the next generation, and I think that time has come. I have 1 year left on my commission term, and so you know, some people learn by theory, and some people learn by on-the-job training, and some people learn both. And so I feel it's best if my last year I kind of sat back and let the new kids on the block kind of run things, and I'll be here for any counsel and advice I can give. But with that, then I would move that I nominate Mr. J.C. Rafferty as the president of the Upshur County Commission. Do we have a second to that motion? With or without a speech? Betty, don't scare him.
I gave that a lot of thought. And Donnie, you have been a good president of the Upshur County Commission. I have learned a lot from Mr. Tenney. It's been a learning experience in 2013. And I think you should be made as president of this county commission.
Oh, well, I certainly appreciate your confidence and your, what would we say, desire. But I think that actually you learn a lot in doing, and I know there have been times over the past that someone has been thrust into that position without having the opportunity to kind of ease into it. So I would respectfully decline that, even though I certainly appreciate that. And I think that I'd hate for, when I leave next year, for that to be something someone would have to endure without a year of mentorship. So I would either ask you to second that motion. Well, we don't need a second. According to Robert's Rules of Order, in a small group like this, you don't need a second. But I do appreciate that.
Would you withdraw that, I think is what he's asking. Would you withdraw that or not?
Well, we have a motion. We have to actually vote on the motion. He's just making a recommendation.
Well, places me in the awkward situation of voting for myself if I choose to do
Well, I
that.
had to do that one time, and it's not awkward, trust me.
It is awkward for me. I mean, I understand the motives and the consideration that both have afforded. And I would have to, at this point, side with Mr. Tenney, as much as I reluctant to a degree to do so, because he has provided unadmissible service to the commission in his term as president. He's been a well-respected member of the County Commission Association. He serves in that capacity as one of the chairmen, one of the board members of that organization, and is held in high regard by many commissioners throughout the state. At the same time, I do understand his belief that it will take some mentoring. It is not a position, president of the commission is not a position which does not have other additional responsibilities and duties associated with it. As he indicates, it's more than just giving speeches, it's having a more in-depth knowledge of procedures, more in-depth knowledge of the operations of the state, how they affect the community or how they affect the county. And it is in that vein, though at the same time I share the same feeling with Commissioner Brady that we've enjoyed the relationship with Donnie. In my 3 years that I've been a commissioner, I've enjoyed the relationship in terms of his knowledge, in terms of his strength of background experience. This brings him 17 years, I believe, this month that you've served on the commission. And I appreciate your willingness to continue for your last year to assist at a mentoring stage and to provide that counsel, which I know I will need. And at the same time, I recognize Commissioner Brady's desire to maintain a tested and tried commission president. But as it stands, it is something that probably for the betterment of the committee, the betterment of the commission, I should say, in terms of our learning, in terms of our continuing to serve the public, is in the best interest of the public. So with that regard, I would move to
Well, you know,
support you.
we've got what we need now, and I appreciate that. And Buddy, I understand where you're coming from, but I do think that we need to, I think it's just best for everyone if we have kind of a year of transition. And I never did like to go into a situation just cold where you don't have somebody to kind of help guide you through. Of course, because I tell you, even 17 years, I've learned a lot, and there's still a lot to learn, there's a lot to do. And I know the first few years I was on the commission, I would have hated to have been put in as president and not had someone there that's had the experience and been in that position. So I can understand and appreciate where you're coming from, buddy. And we'll still be here to control JC, make sure that he does a really good job. Not that I think there's any problem with that. So we have a motion, and like I said, we don't even need a second. According to Robert's Rules of Order, if it's small. So we have a motion, and I'm just going to ask for a vote. The motion was to nominate J.C. Rafferty as president. All in favor say aye, and I'm going to say aye.
I'm going to say nay. And the reason I'm saying that, I think when you have somebody quite capable of running the county commission, which you did an excellent job in 2013, I just hate to, you know what I mean, remove you from being president. Not that I can't say it's nice to train somebody, but also it's nice to have the knowledge that you have showed here for 2013. And like you say, it is a learning experience. It's been a great learning experience for me as county commissioner over 2013. But I don't think that's something that we couldn't learn with you still being president, was my thought. But I do see where you're coming from, Mr. Tenney. I just hate to see you step down as president, because I think you've done an outstanding job. And that's the reason I voted for you.
And I appreciate that. And with that being said, at this point in time, then I will turn things over to our new president. And here is your gavel that I've only used one time in my 17 years. So use that with caution because it's very fragile.
Hopefully I will not be required to use it at all during whatever tenure I have. Thank you, Johnny. Again, I reiterate that I appreciate your past service. I know the citizens of Upshur County do as well. And hopefully you and Buddy will be a source of information, knowledge, and well, will be a source of information and assist during the transition year. And again, at the end of next year, we'll go through this again, and who knows what that will bring. So in any event, thank you, and I guess moving on. The next form of business we have is the date and time of regular commission meetings. Administrator Pomeroy, would you please identify those dates for us?
Sure. In the past, we have, I think for quite a while, met every Thursday at 9 a.m. If you'd like to continue doing that, we can do so.
I would move that we continue the meeting dates and times as every Thursday.
I'll second that. Will those approve?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, we now establish the hours of operation for Upshur County Courthouse.
And again, in the past, we've established the courthouse hours as Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Okay, I have a motion to approve those time frames.
So moved.
Second.
It's approved. Approval of 2014 holiday schedule administrative closures.
And that is attached in your agenda. Those are just the regular holidays that we've traditionally taken off. We do have elections this year, so there's two additional, the primary election day and general election day are also in there.
Correct.
Move to approve.
So moved and approved. Okay. Consider board appointments. That is, these are the boards that we as commissioners are assigned to attend and represent the commission. The Community Corrections Board is currently represented by Troy Brady. The Farmland Preservation Board is represented by Troy Brady. The Lewis Upshur Emergency Planning Committee is represented by myself. The Mountain Cap of West Virginia Incorporated is represented by myself. Region 6 Workforce Investment Board is currently represented by Troy Brady. The Region 7 Planning and Development Commission or Council is represented by Donnie Tenney. The Upshur County 4-H Foundation is represented by Donnie Tenney. The Upshur County Development Authority represented by myself. The Upshur County Enhanced Emergency Telephone Advisory Board represented by Troy Brady. The Upshur County Extension Service Committee is represented by Donnie Tenney. The Upshur County Fire Board Incorporated represented by myself. The Upshur County Senior Center Board represented by myself. The Upshur County Family Resource Network is represented by Commissioner Brady, and the Upshur County Youth Council Incorporated Stockton Youth Center is represented by Donnie Tenney. Are there any requests for changes or any changes that are to be made on those appointments, or shall we? Is there a motion to remain similar boards during the upcoming year?
There's the West Montai. And there was a question, because I don't think we had the minutes on that. I would like to serve on that if Buddy doesn't have a problem. I think
So moved.
And in exchange for that, I'd like for Buddy to serve on the Stopper Youth Center Board, if he would.
I only have 6 boards, Mr.
I
Tenney.
know.
You only have 4.
Well, actually,
And now since you're not president, we feel like you need to be more out there, let us know.
well, the offsetting factor there is that I serve as on the County Commission Association, West Virginia Board of Directors. I serve on the West Virginia Association of County Board of Directors and numerous committees there that I serve on and attend meetings too. But and I'm taking on another board. I mean, I just thought that,
that would be something you could ease into, since we support, excuse me, the Stockford Youth Center, the commission supports that, I thought that would be good. And then I could kind of help you ease into that board, since that's a pretty important board that we're a very important part of. That was I was not trying to get out of another board. Matter of fact, I volunteered to take another board, so.
And I knew,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, that
Right.
you served on these other boards and done an excellent job.
Right.
And represent the county commission. Once
Right.
again, that's why I thought you should remain as president,
Yeah.
which you chose not to do. And I understand that.
So what was your, would you like to try that for a year, and if you don't like it, then we can change? Stockford? Really, the only who goes to the, do they tell you when that is? I mean, basically what they do with that is Deborah gives a report of activities, which is pretty, I think, pretty impressive, what Stockford does. And I saw Amanda was defending them from something the other day, but Stockford Youth Center does a lot of things with me and Rick.
They meet on the first Monday at 4 o'clock at Stockford Youth Center every month.
Right, but this summer, there was no meetings for 3 months.
Their meetings are iffy.
Right, and like I say, basically the meetings consist of Deborah giving her report as far as accomplishments, and she does accomplish a lot there.
And the city does like to make sure they understand where the money is and where things
Where
are
it's
being
coming
spent. It gets a
from.
little bit interesting with
Right,
on the city's representative side, which I really think Betty might be a really good
I think they would.
offset with some of that.
And if you can, if you would take that, buddy, and you can't make it to a meeting, I certainly would go and attend on your behalf.
Well, I think you've done so well on that, Mr. Kenny. I think you should stay. However, if you could not attend the meeting for some reason, you know what I mean? I would try to show up
Right,
on your behalf.
okay. Well, that might be a compromise we both can live with.
So as I understand it,
I still will take an extra board, an additional board that I didn't have before. Go ahead, Jason.
So I understand it, then, if I understand correctly, that you will remain on the board as an official designation, everybody will serve as an alternate.
Yeah. Let's put that in minutes. If I can't make it, buddy will. And then I will volunteer to go on the West One top, because I served on the Soil Conservation District for 10 years as a district supervisor, so near and dear to my heart. Okay, so are there any, is this all the board?
This is all the boards, I think, that we have designation to, and therefore I would move, or I can't move, I would ask for a motion to keep the boards the same as previously, with the exception of that item discussed with regards to the Stockford Youth Center.
And then I'll be.
Which will be reflected,
West One top.
right, and then you'll be added to West Piedmont, or West Montana.
Okay. Well, I would say no.
In a second.
I'll second that, Mr. Kenny.
Passed, approved, okay.
We got that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We now have 9:30 meeting, which is, I think, 30 more seconds to go on the official clock here. We have the Sheriff, Dave Kaufman, representing the Sheriff's Office of Upshur County before a discussion on part-time temporary deputy. Sheriff?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I come before you this morning asking you to support the sheriff in his need to hire a temporary law enforcement officer for a period of 3 months. The reason I request that is I think the commission is fully aware that I've been a man down for many months now. I thought I was going to be able to fill this position in November. The person that we had in mind bringing the board decided not to come with us. So that put us in a dilemma. We did not have an active civil service roster at that point in time, so we had to back up and retest for civil service, which I think all you gentlemen are aware that's very time consuming. And so we've got through the initial steps, we gave the test, and we do have active applicants at this time, and I'm in the process of interviewing these people. But as of today, I'm not in a position to hire anybody. I have to do more research. I'm not comfortable to bring somebody on board at this time. It's going to take me a while to find that right person. Until I have that feeling, until I get that feeling that this is a person for our department, then I'm going to drag my feet a little bit. And then, of course, gentlemen, you are aware that on December 31, I brought that to you yesterday.
Yes.
Virgil Miller submitted his letter that he was leaving the department. I think that was an agreement that that gentleman made some time ago. So Mr. Miller fulfilled his part in working a year and then leaving on the 31st. So actually, right as of today, I'm down 2 people. And I'd like to put a Band-Aid on that until I get the opportunity to hire somebody, to bring somebody on for 3 months under Chapter 7, 14, and 12 of the West Virginia Code. It's a non-competitive position. We bring a person in, he would work for us for 90 days. Position, it would be a non-supervisory position at $16 an hour. My thought. I think my lowest paid deputy is getting $16, $31, $32, 33 cents per hour. So I'm asking if you all grant my request, then I would hire this person at $16.
Brought to my attention through, you cite State Code 71412 for non-competitive appointment of filling a vacancy in the Sheriff's Department. There are 2 provisions that have to be met in order to appoint someone as a temporary position. One, whenever there are urgent reasons for filling the capacity, that might be the case with being down 2 deputies. We can discuss that group here for the commission. But there is also a second requirement, as I read in the statute, which is there is no list of persons eligible for appointment after competitive examination. And it seems that that's in conflict with the list of people that are on the door downstairs that have already tested for the position and have been assigned a score. That seems to be in direct conflict with the law statement. Can you address that, please? You already have to a degree saying that you're...
I have addressed it to a degree. But it's my interpretation that until I get to the point to fill that position, I just don't think that it's an argument. Let me put it that way. You brought up a good point. It would be an argument. And to be honest with you, I should have went to Terry, the civil service, and asked him for interpretation of the code there, just to be able to answer your question. Because that's the guidelines I follow, guidelines of the Civil Service Commission.
Are there other comments from other commissioners?
Well, I guess my question is, not knowing, do we know where we are as far as your budget on your deputies and overtime?
I have not looked at the dollar amount on paper, but this vacancy that I'm trying to fill has been there since July 1, since this year's budget. And I don't think, we haven't touched that money. I believe there's money in the budget for the 90-day position.
Well, Megan, you gave us this paper here, and I assume that's based on some research on budgeting. I mean, that's my only concern, that we don't come to the end of the year and have a huge deficit
And from what I remember in the budget hearings, Virgil's position was funded through December. So from this point forward, I believe you only have one vacancy, because I think that position was created just for those 6 months, I believe. That's my understanding of that position. So I think from looking at the budget, you're down one person right now. I mean, you lost Virgil, but that was just a temporary 6-month position.
But wasn't that money budgeted July 1, 13?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't that money budgeted?
Yes, for Virgil, that money was budgeted as of July 2013 through December 2013. So there's no money in the budget for that position. So there's no money in a budget for a temporary 3-month position, because we didn't expect that to happen. There is that one position that's been open since July. I believe CJ Day moved
It's
to
the backfill for, position that we're trying to fill is the backfill for Rocky Head.
Oh,
Rocky was the last one that left the road and went to the high school.
okay,
And we have not
built that one.
filled that
Right.
as of today.
I asked our bookkeeper to put together some numbers for me on the wages, and as of right now, in wages, overtime, FICA, Fed Med, and retirement for both law enforcement and confinement, it's over 50% in every single one of those categories. If the same schedule is continued and the same, I guess, money is expended, at the end of this year, you'll be over budget by $26,000.
Well, okay. But I was going to hire a man in November with the commission. We agreed to that.
Right.
Why wasn't I stopped back then saying the money's not there?
Well, we did budget for that.
I mean, we'd have really been over if I went ahead and hired somebody in November. And you're saying 26 now, would have been looking at 40 or 50.
I don't think we got to that point in November, because there wasn't any candidate brought forward. I mean, you do still have that position open. I think, if you have that list of candidates, you can still fill that position. But we have not budgeted for that position and a 3-month provisional appointment.
Now, the figures you have, Megan, are they based on actual expenditures to date?
To January 1st, I
Yes.
think it is.
January
Yeah,
1st?
they're based on the wages that have been paid out through December 13th, and then we had one paid in January so far. So she just averaged it and, estimated if that continues throughout the end of this fiscal year, where we'll be at.
Well, I guess the question is, according to these figures, as of, okay, say 6 months in this fiscal year, just the straight wages has been 55% of what's budgeted. So I guess my question is, if there was someone budgeted that you didn't have in there, okay, because we budgeted, we put in extra money for Virgil for 6 months, okay?
Yeah, I
So
thought
now-
it was extra money.
Right, so
Addition to-
I guess my question is, so that's not even a question as far as this 6-month time period, but if we had money in there for a deputy that wasn't there, then how's come you still spent 55% and you were short one man, you had that money? I guess that's my question. Now, part of it no, that's, the overtime was 64%. So it's over 14% for that 6-month time period. And then the home confinement, it's almost 70% of the overtime's going in 6 months. So that's gonna be a deficit there. But can you explain that, Megan, why there was budgeted for 6 months for someone that wasn't there, so that money should be there, but still 55% in the first 6 months?
After you brought this up.
Well, I think, are you talking about the wages?
Yeah, this is straight wages, is 55% is expended at the end, 1st of January.
I believe that's from working on a holiday, because then you're paid twice, I believe. You're paid for the holiday hours and you're also paid straight wages.
Well, wouldn't that be figured into the budget, I mean, from day one?
Not if it's being worked over what we had budgeted for.
Would that bring it all the way up to 55% at this point in time, when we haven't had that officer since July 1?
There must be other officers covering for it that's bringing those wages up. I don't know. I mean, those are the numbers. I mean, at this point, that's how much you expended in wages. And of course, that will bring the FICA Fedman retirement up along with it.
Are you thinking that we're going to, that I'm asking for 2 positions? Or just?
Well, you
It's
have-
my request today. I mean, I'm too, in my mind,
Yeah.
effective to December 31. I just went down to the second, 2 men down. I was one. I had a man in there working, his tail end off. Great officer. We all know that. There's no need for me to give a big speech here today. But he left me. So as sheriff, I feel today, before you gentlemen and ladies, that I'm 2 men down. So it was my request, thinking that the money has been there since July 1, because Virgil was, with the agreement with the commission, was paid for 6 months on
Right.
top of that vacant position.
Right.
So I'm thinking that money was there. So the only thing I was going to ask was to fill in for 90 days to give me the opportunity to get back on my feet.
Well, and I understand that compared to last month, you're 2 men down, but compared to last year, I mean, that position was created as a temporary position, I believe. So, I mean, compared to what the normal staffing level is, aside from those 6 months, it's only 1 position down, right? Because it's Rocky Head. I mean, that 6-month period was kind of the.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom goal at this point, is to
Yeah.
fill Rocky Head's position when he left the road.
Well, and,
And that's with the people that I'm interviewing right now,
right,
and that's the goal I hope to reach in the near future.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, between the 2 of you maybe can answer. On Rocky, don't we pay part of his salary?
I think there is a, 80-20?
Well, I thought the way that was set up, that if he was working for the county,
They paid all.
But I thought-
Virgil spoke up and just said that he believes BOE takes it full time.
We pay the ancillary things, the vehicle, the gas, the uniforms, the
Uniforms,
weapons.
that
The
sort of
board
thing.
pays
They
the
take up the
salary,
salary.
FICA and everything else.
so, but I thought.
And they reimburse the county quarterly.
Right, but I thought that part of, like say, when there wasn't school, does he come back to the sheriff's department and help do stuff?
Occasionally, yes. We got a
Okay.
couple of days work out of him,
Well,
over this cold spell.
Okay, so, but still, they pay for all that. I thought that was kind of divided up there on both of those guys, that if they came back, that we paid for that time that they were working,
Like in the summer.
Like
like in the summer.
summertime. If he's working, if he's working on our dime out here, working, just like these snow days,
Right,
we always gave him the option to either use vacation time during snow time or work. Now, if they come out and work, then we pay that percentage. We don't bill the Board of Education.
right, okay, so we are paying for part of it, so like, and that's what I'm thinking, maybe that's part of this, that we have been paying some on Rocky's wages,
That's possible.
like in the summertime when there's no
July,
school,
August.
or when they're off for different time periods. So maybe that would account for some of that, so.
And
maybe
it's just not
we-
Rocky too, excuse me, but it's, you got CJ Day doing the
Right.
same thing.
It's twice.
Right, so maybe that's where part of this is, that, well, I think the commission's only, I mean, we want you to be staffed, we want you to be able to do your job. I think our concern is that we don't, end up like last year with the deficit at the end of the year, that we've got to kick in money out of general revenue to cover. I mean, that was what we talked about doing. We're going to watch overtime, we're going to kind of monitor things
We
through the
will
course
work
of the year.
together, try to monitor it.
Right.
And try to stay within the guidelines.
Uh,
But also, Donnie, you gotta look at it, if we stay shorthanded and we can't, we can't predict what's gonna happen tomorrow in law enforcement, You may have a day where things are quiet, the next day, go to crazy. I mean, I know the commission wants me to do everything I can to stay within my budget, especially the overtime. Well, when a man's short-handed, I think in the long run, it creates more of it. Because today we're fine, but tomorrow you got 2 or 3 things going on and you just don't have enough people to handle it. And then I'm asking the guys to stay over to get it done because it has to be done. And then there goes your overtime. So it's a two-sided sword.
We have projections, Joe, when's the last projection we have out of the tax office as to
The last financial statement we received in August.
August? So we don't know at this point in time what the projected revenue is going to be.
Well, I mean, we don't have financial statements as to what's in those accounts since August.
Right.
correct?
What we draw from.
And my concern for your protection is simply the statute that you brought up. As you said, the position has been vacant for a year. This is for urgent reasons when there's a vacancy. In my understanding, if this was an urgent reason, it would have happened, maybe 9 months ago when you realized that it wasn't going to be filled for quite a while. I don't know what's changed since a year ago that makes it all of a sudden urgent. But also, there's also the fact that they require a list of persons eligible for appointment after competitive examination. I know you're still going through that process, but there is a list of eligible candidates. And my concern for you would be if you appointed someone, you would be potentially taking that opportunity for those 10 people on the door downstairs. You'd be, suspending their opportunity for a job by 3 months when they've taken the exam. I was understanding that you were through with interviews this week. But I don't know, I don't know where you are in that process, but, if you need to fill that position, I would think that you'd want to just kind of push as quickly as possible through that examination process, since you do have a list of eligible candidates.
I do, I've already said that. But there's a possibility that I may run out of candidates, because I'm not just bringing any John Doe on board. He's
Right.
got to be the person for the department. Another thing, I don't know how you're thinking on this, but I'm asking for a 3-month position. But if I can get somebody on board in 60 days, then the person that I bring on board for the 3 months, he'll go home. I don't want to overlap that. That's not what I'm trying to do to you. I'm just looking for that one person until we can get somebody on board.
How many do you have on your list now that you're looking at?
Usually 10.
Well, the chief deputy, myself, and Lieutenant Davis worked hard on bringing people in, interviewing them. I think we had like 10. And we've interviewed probably 6. Got a few more, got 3 or 4 more to look at.
And after the interviews, what steps after that do you have to take?
Well, if we find the right person, then there's, we have psychological evaluation. That's the first step we go through. Make sure the person is mentally sound, capable. And then, I'll bring the person before the commission and ask for the commission to support me on the hiring.
So they've already done the agility test and everything.
They've done that when they took that's part of the civil service test.
Right.
We do that right off the bat. Anybody that cannot pass the physical agility they do not get the opportunity to move forward and take a real exam.
Well, it sounds like you're almost through with the whole process. Are you not? I mean, how much, you have 4 more interviews?
I do, but that don't mean I'm gonna pick 1 out of 10. If I'm not comfortable, go
If I
ahead.
might add something, it's not really, it hadn't been real easy for us to find a good candidate. We had one that we thought was coming, and it didn't work out for him at the last minute. We were tickled to death with him. We've got one now that's thinking about it. He's in Randolph County. He wanted to live over there and continue to live over there. We're talking about going to be a possibility. So now he doesn't know if he's going to accept employment if we offered it. And, you know, it just hasn't been as easy a thing to say, find the right person. We've done some background, a lot of background work.
We've run some backgrounds and found out
Some of those didn't, everybody doesn't,
don't pan out.
everybody that's on that list, might not necessarily be desirable. Matter of fact, of the 3 that we interviewed this past week, one of them was just, we had him over for a second time, for a second interview. And that's kind of where we're at with the interview thing.
We've been pulling our hair on this. I mean, it's just, nobody's standing out there saying, you know, this.
Are any of your applicants already certified police officers?
I think when we started the process, we had 2 gentlemen that were certified.
You still have to hire from the top 3 of your list until you disqualify them?
We spoke to Terry Reed about that, and we went through the top 3 names, and we could not find anybody out of the top 3 that we felt would make a good officer. And Mr. Reed said just move on to the next 3, here's the names. And we're at the bottom of those, we've exhausted the names of the second 3.
And how long's that process been to get those 10 names?
We started before Christmas, maybe middle of December, approximately, give or take a day or 2.
And how much longer you think it'll be before you complete those 10 and make a determination if there's one of those is qualified? Within 3, you think it'll take 3 months? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's, I won't say that. Hopefully, a long estimate would be the end of January. Hopefully before,
2 or 3 weeks.
hopefully.
If you can pick someone from that list, then 2 or 3 weeks you can have a deputy on board. Is that what you're saying?
I can have a person on board.
Whether he's certified or not makes the question, because he has to still go down.
More than likely not certified.
Based on
That's
your interviews
where
with
we're
this
going
one.
there. I mean,
So,
I'm not going to go into that, but more than likely, the person that I bring before you at a later date will not be a certified officer.
So let's say that you hired somebody temporary for 3 months and you brought somebody on board at the end of January that's not certified, then what would your plan be? To keep that person on for additional time, or the 3 months would end and you'd have somebody for 2 months that wasn't certified, or whatever length of time it took for them to get certified? It's going to take a while if they're not certified to get certified, isn't it? They've got to wait till...
It's
16 weeks.
Well, the last officer we hired in January of 2013. And he graduated from the academy first week in July. Then effective October 1, I think, was the first time we were in position to put him on the schedule.
Without a mentor or something.
So, you know, you're talking 9, 10, 11 months if we hire a non-certified officer to where we can actually where we benefit
Right.
his services. That is if, you know, if they work out.
Right.
That's another reason. When I bring somebody on board, I have to be concerned about, can they make it through the academy? Why should we invest all this money and time, and then they get down there, and they do send a lot of them home. We don't want that to happen. Then we have to start over.
Right. So best case scenario would be you hire somebody at the end of January, and then it would be October before they could actually be out on their own.
How often do the State Police Academy conduct the basic class for?
They just started one, JC here this month, right after the New Year's, and I believe the second class kicks off April 10th or something.
For the,
Somebody was talking there earlier about maybe the change, where they went through where they're taking the deputies that right into like a crossover program, where a deputy can just do for, I think it'll be like 12 weeks to become a trooper. They wouldn't have to go through the whole class. And since they're starting that, they said the next basic class may not be in September. They may cut down the amount of basic classes they have.
But you know, we hire a rookie, we do our best to get all the services possibly from him. We train him in the course, different things that he can do.
Still some things he can do.
Right,
before he
there's
starts.
certain things, yeah. We just have to be careful.
Well, it's kind of like the Comm Center. They have to go through a training process before they can actually sit there by themselves and be fully qualified. But, so, best case scenario is we're looking at fall, but still, even let's say you hired somebody in January, and they're not gonna be able to work on their own for, say, 6 or 8 months, you're still only wanting this 3-month temporary position.
That's not reflected, yeah.
But
Just-
the worst case scenario is you don't pick someone out of these 10, you go through that process again, then it may be a year before you get somebody, but you still only want a 3-month temporary position filled, is that correct?
Yes. I'll make that deal.
Well, I think that, in my mind, I mean, you know, the legalities of it, you're in law enforcement. As far as the legalities of dealing with 71412, my concern is how much money we got in your budget. And I don't know, Megan, I'm assuming that these projections you got, or these things are based on the information you got from the bookkeeping department.
Right, and those are just estimates based on the last 6 months. That continues for the next 6 months, that's the estimate. But my concern for you would be if you're in violation of that statute at all, because you do have a list of persons, I realize you're not through with the entire process yet, but if you do have a list of persons, if you appoint somebody else, whether you may be putting yourself in hot water.
we could always put ourselves in litigation.
I would suggest that you get some sort of legal opinion as to what you need to do based on that statute, because you do have a list. And again, I know you're not through with all that yet, but that would be my concern for,
Or an outside counsel
Well, maybe we
that's ex parte to the entire county, somebody who can review the statute and tell you whether or not that list downstairs could hold you liable for any kind of legal action coming from a potential candidate when they are aware of who it may be that you appoint from in-house.
Well, I think that's a good idea. And I don't know, can we get that from the risk pool? Is that something of a service they would provide, or?
we can certainly ask them.
And then my other concern is with this projection of potential budget deficit of $26,000. And these figures that Megan has is based on some estimates. But what we really need to know is, we need to know
Solid
what
figures.
solid figures, and we can't do that till we get our financial statement. And those are, when's the last one?
The last financial statement received was from August.
August. So we've got September, October, November, and December. We've got 4 months, but we're not sure actually how much money we got till we get those financial statements. So those are the two.
I have asked that be taken care of ASAP, just for your knowledge.
Well, I think
In
we
all
really
fairness,
need
though, I
that.
do know that you were assisting the fire board in some of their issues as well.
Yeah, there have been some additional issues that came up there.
But it's still critical for us to have those
Critical
figures.
for the entire county to know those numbers.
Unless I hear any other opposition or whatever, I'd recommend that we defer this until we've had some legal counsel review the question on 7/14/12, whether or not we have the authority, whether the sheriff's department has authority to hire someone temporarily based on the interpretation of that statute.
And also, if the sheriff could give us a timeline when we could have a financial statement, so we could look to see exactly how much money.
Well, he indicated he'd do that ASAP, I think.
Okay.
I'm working on that. I
Okay.
just, can't do it by myself.
And that,
Is there any other questions?
Pertaining to the 55% expenditure,
On the
Or-
region,
you're saying we've spent 55% of our salary. Line, correct?
that's what the
Roughly,
numbers show
roughly.
up to this point.
Right. Has the Board of Education, are we getting their money when, they're supposed to pay quarterly for reimbursement?
As far
Are we up to date on that, or do you know that? I mean, could that be part of the discrepancy in the dollar?
I don't think so. I mean, I'd have to look into that, but I think these are just
I think these are more on budget instead of cash flow issues. This is budget.
so, I mean, whether they pay us back or not, that's still the amount that's been expended. You're still 55% over, whether they.
I don't understand that, but not since that, we had that position July 1, started this new 13-14 fiscal year, and now seems like, nobody's getting overpaid, I can tell you that.
Well,
Well, now, what's the process in that? Who handles that? That would be someone in your office that have to track the hours and stuff, wouldn't it? So you know how much they have to pay and how much they done, how much we pay?
We track every man's,
Right.
every hour they work.
Right.
When CJ and Rocky turn their time sheet in, and Mike can check this if I'm right, they designate school time and it's broke down, and Carol then sends the Board of Education an invoice requesting reimbursement for X number of dollars. And I think Dave's on point. We're right in the middle of the second quarter, so that billing hasn't been done. We've only received payment for one quarter, if we've received it.
Right, but I think.
But that should be credited back, Donnie, to the sheriff's account, salary line item.
Well, that's why we need a financial statement, because that'll tell us the true picture.
Right.
Because if you budget, say, $100,000 for a position, and somebody's gonna pay half of it, and you've spent 75% of it, of what's budgeted.
We're spending it before we get it back from the Board of
Well,
Education.
yeah, and we do that on a lot.
Yeah.
We do that on the comm center, we do that on the dog pound. But if my understanding is, this is what's budgeted. This is not how much is coming back, or this is the percent that's been total budgeted, and then they're just gonna pay back half of that. So I think, we can check on that, but I don't think that's a factor in making this 55%, because this is the amount that's budgeted, not reimbursed. There's a difference there.
Yeah, but it's budgeted and it's spent,
Right.
but then it's reimbursed and
Well,
credited
we
back
can-
to the
we
But
account.
the salary's still there. I mean,
Right.
you still spent 55% of the
Right.
total
I
amount.
understand it.
I mean, we're getting that money back, but
you're
it's still
expecting
expended.
a return on part.
But that's not gonna drop that 55% down to like
Right, it's gonna be still
45 or
the same.
anything.
Not
It's
that
still gonna
much.
be, you're still 55% right now.
Right now.
And 64% of your overtime.
Right.
I don't understand that. I guess we're all out of work.
Well, what I suggest
And
is,
try to come up with.
we have a policy board meeting next week.
Well, and you might check with,
Either next week or
with your chief tax deputy and see if you could figure out why that you're 55%, you're 5% over, but you've had money allocated for a deputy that's not been there. That's a question in my mind, how that happened. Because the overtime's over too, so that would account for this paying double time if it's on holiday. That wouldn't account for the 55% when you actually should have a pretty good surplus in there if you've got somebody. Now, if what Virgil worked for the 6 months was coming out, that'd be different, but that wasn't. We put extra money in for that. So you might check with your chief tax deputy and try to get that question answered, and then see let us know when we can have those solid figures, because we really need those in order to, other than determining if, that make sure that we're kosher by the law, make sure we're kosher by budgeting. So we can all work together on this, but we really need some solid figures in order to be able to help you out.
I understand.
So,
I'm still don't understand 55%, but I guess I'll just have to go down and study that.
yeah.
Work with other people on that. But getting back to your thoughts on bringing somebody on board, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think I could get anybody before you any earlier than, I think the earliest possible date would be the middle of February. I mean, you gotta interview, you gotta go through the process, you gotta get additional testing, and then we gotta bring them before you. And then there's a 2 week, usually a 2 week, minimum 2 week notice, most guys are working. So it could be the middle of February, 1st of March, for, you know, if we find the right person, and we have to work around their schedule a little bit.
Okay, well, let's get those two questions answered, and we'll,
All right.
And I have one question for you, which I would like to have an answer to. I know you got 10 people on the list down there on the door. Is there a chance if Mr. Miller would want to come back full-time in the sheriff's office? Is there a way that that can be done to fill the vacancy that you have now? Looks to me like that would take care of the problem all the way around. I don't know whether that can happen. It's, you've already tested, but I'd like to have that question answered, you know what I mean? Because I don't know whether Virgil would want to come back full-time, but he would be an asset to the county, has been an asset to the county, and has done an outstanding job as sheriff, and I am proud at the time I have worked under him. Just a thought.
I understand.
As you know,
I know what kind of man he is too.
as you know, you have to train somebody, and you never know how an officer is going to turn out. I don't care how they pass the test. I don't care of all the psychological exams you do. You never know how an officer is going to turn out until he's out there in the street dealing with the public. And the West Virginia State Police Academy can teach you every law in the book, and when you leave there, you'll know chapter, verse, and everything. Still doesn't guarantee you, even after completing that course, you're going to have a man that, you know what I mean, has common sense and can deal with the public and relate to the public. So.
And that's my case in point here, why I took so long in hiring someone. It's got to be that right person.
And I can tell you,
It is.
you will never know who the
No,
right
for sure,
person
you're
is.
right.
You know what I mean? You will never know until he hits the street.
In all fairness, I think if they had psychological, when me and Buddy and Kelly was hired, we wouldn't have got hired.
But yeah, I mean, if there's any way I can bring back Parker Miller, fill his slot, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Let us
Because
see,
I know what type of worker he is.
let us review the legalities of hiring a temporary person under circumstances that
All right, okay.
exist. And then we'll address that at the same time we resolve this other issue.
Appreciate that.
Is there anything else to be discussed on this?
Get all the T's and I's dotted there, girls.
Okay.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The next meeting is at 1 o'clock. We do have some items for discussion, action, or approval. First item is to approve the resignation of Sherry McDaniel, Upshur County Administrative Assistant, which was effective December 20th, 2013. In her letter of resignation, she was here a short time, but had the opportunity to seek employment, obtain employment where she had benefits.
I'll move to approve the resignation.
I second.
This is where she.
So moved and approved.
For the next period. So that's.
All those in favor say
Yeah. It will.
opposed. Okay, passed.
Before we replace anybody, that's going to be right. Say right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next item is authorization for property tax department and/or office of Upshur County Assessor to make changes to real, personal, and/or mineral valuations through January 30, 2014. Any changes in valuation made after January 30, 2014 is to be reported to the county commission sitting as a board of equalization and review.
This is just customary.
Just customary.
Yeah, that's
prior
for,
to-
we're getting geared up for board equalization review, which is in February. And I've included the dates for that at the end of the agenda on number 7. So that's our kind of preliminary schedule for that. We have to start on January 30th because you can't start after, I think it's the
20th of February.
2nd of February, and that's a Sunday.
Yeah.
So we start a little bit early this year. And then we'll be posting the notices that are attached there. I think there's a letter and a notice that's going to go in the newspaper.
Very good. Has to be public notice, of course.
Yes. So we'll publish that for the next 2 weeks and then.
Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize that?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we carried. Okay, we have the number 3 is the approval of recommendation of removal of Tina K. Miller Jones as executrix of the estate of Vincent W. Miller, deceased, and appointment of sheriff of Upshur County as administrator of the estate. Apparently, from a review of the fiduciary officer, this individual has failed to communicate and respond to letters and communication, personal communication from the fiduciary commission relative to that estate. It's been not timely addressed as the basis for removal. I would ask for a motion to authorize removal of that executrix from the estate.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Next, we have, let's see, lost my place here for a second. There we go. Next, we have approval and authorization of the president to sign grant contract related documentation with West Virginia Development Office for Disabled Veterans Chapter 36. And it's a community participation grant, number 13, LEDA-0713, the amount of $8,000. And that was a grant, I believe, that was secured through the auspices of Delegate Hamilton, Bill Hamilton, for the DAV, and is to be used for, let's see, the governor indicated that in his letter authorizing it. For just general improvements in the to the project with renovations to meeting room, bathrooms, and other improvements as the fund permits. Do I have any motion to support that authorization we assign the?
So moved.
Second.
Any opposed? Carried. In fact, I probably just have to say carried. I don't have to say any opposed, but yeah, both. Unless I choose to.
You want to give you
Unless
the
I choose
opportunity
to.
to oppose something.
Unless I choose to do so. Okay. Next, approve invoices, payment of bills. We have some of those, obviously, in the last several weeks, which we routinely do. So I move to not adjourn, but to go to the term date.
You might go over some of this
Oh, well,
information.
we have information, that's true as well. Thank you. Correspondence to Upshur County Board of Education, appointing Dr. Tammy Samples as the Upshur County Parks Recreation Advisory Board member, term to be from June 30, 2013 to June 30, 2015. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
No, we don't need
We don't
it.
do that, okay.
They have, that's
Yeah,
their,
it's their daily
Right.
work.
right.
Yeah, Alan Suter's term ended, so
Right.
they're responsible for appointing
Okay.
someone.
And they noted in the letter that they have another position to appoint.
Okay.
And where are we on all those positions on those?
On the park board,
Well, all the different boards.
I am working on trying to get a complete list, but I think we're
We're
not
pretty
too
well
bad.
caught up. We're pretty
Yeah,
well caught up.
we still have that health board.
Well, there are a lot of those at the end of the year, Is that when, that's the only thing, do we have to reappoint a lot of those because their term ends on December 31st?
I'm still going through the list,
Okay.
but I think we're not too bad.
Well-
I was trying to get a list of
Yeah.
people, but I didn't get that done yet.
And the
But
way that
we
works.
still have fire board vacancy,
Right.
health
The
board.
way those work, if they're not reappointed immediately, they still serve on.
Right.
Yeah, right. They just continue until they're replaced.
And now we will need to send a letter to Region 7 stating that I'll continue to serve on Region 7 Planning Development Council as a representative of Upshur County Commission. They'll need a notification, and actually we'll need to look at that list today. We've got a few lists like that we probably need to look and approve and then send. That may be the only one. I don't know on your workforce investment, buddy, we may need to notify those boards, some of them, of who the designee are so that they have an official record of those, so we can look at those after a while. I think we're gonna be here for a while.
But there we are.
We'll order in dinner after a while.
Next, we have correspondence from Dominion. Subject of this correspondence is to remind the public that despite efforts to maintain a safe pipeline, that the third-party damage is the greatest, where people will excavate and disrupt the pipeline service prior to notification of Dominion. And we are asked to make the public aware that they are to contact 811, which is like similar to a 911 emergency number to call to verify when they're going to excavate, that they have to have them checked to make sure the pipelines and other right-of-ways are not endangered by such excavation. Next, we have a building permit for December, which of course is down from the last several months. It's about $260,000 in construction, but again, that I think is timing relative to the weather, relative to the time of year. But we've had a rather active construction across the last several months of into the millions of dollars every period of time. So there is new construction, there is improvement and repair that's going on throughout the county. Okay. We have the 911 Communications Center reports for December 2013, reflecting those different departments, agencies that were called out on 911 calls. We have agendas and notice of meetings, which we have published as well, and we have meeting minutes from the author of the Upshur County Development Authority and Citizen Corps. And we have the dates for the Board of Equalization and Review. Again, as Megan indicated earlier, our first date will be January 30 at 1 o'clock here in the chambers. That's for our purpose to review the books, make sure everything is in order prior to any appointments that are being made. At this point, we don't know the number of appointments. We'll be advised that by the assessor at some point in time. But on February 18th, we'll have our mineral hearings, which we always have attendees come into that to discuss with state officials from the tax department any exonerations or questions concerning assessment. And on February 20th is our last day. We will adjourn no later than February 20th. So anyone who has business before the Board of Equalization Review should be aware that they need to contact the assessor expeditiously in order to get an appointment arranged. And of course, a list of meetings which are routinely attended by the commission members.
And then I also just wanted to mention, I put on your desks the PVC report. That is, because we're coming up on budget season 2, that's the report that the assessor put
Right.
together for her valuation fund. So
Right.
that's just for your review.
Okay, thank you
That's
very much.
available to you.
Not in the agenda, but it's for our review.
Right, just for your.
Okay. According to appointments that we need, we do have one vacancy from the commission, I believe, which is for the Upshur County Health Department, which is an individual from Washington District, and also someone from the county for the Upshur County Fire Board. And it would be a citizen appointment, not a fire department appointment.
Who was in that position?
That would have been
I think Quentin was.
Quinn Golden.
Well, he
But then
was a
Joe
fire department
Malcolm.
representative.
Right, then Joe Malcolm replaced him.
Was it Fred Armagast or Fred?
Couldn't tell.
Maybe he's still on.
Take a look. they change it.
Fred Hodges.
Yes.
Is that the only qualification, they have to be a non-fire?
Non-fire department member, just a citizen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you might make note of that. I need someone to volunteer to be on the fire board. It's a non-fireman. Somewhere in the county.
Anywhere in the county, it's not designation. And we meet monthly on the third Thursday of the month at 6:30 in the evening. And typically the meetings last anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half.
A good time is had by all of us.
We like to think. We'll adjourn then until 1 o'clock for our meeting with the director of the 911 center. And that will be a
Recess.
recess. What I said, adjourn. You're getting me there.
That's okay.